Hello and welcome everyone. It is time for the inaugural Jim Comics Down the Road video. As you all know, I put out my weekly top picks video, and that covers books that are coming out for the next comic book day. But I've had quite a few requests from people asking that I do a video. I'm going to try to do them every month when the preview catalogs come out, which will give you a chance to know what's coming, what I think are good picks in the next few months. And as long as you order everything before the final order cutoff, there should be no problem getting it, because I know shops order based on what they think they can sell, and you know, when a hot book comes out after they place their order, if they're only getting 10 copies in and 100 people want it, well, you're not going to probably get one unless you've pre-ordered it. So that's why I'm going to do these, so it gives you a chance to kind of, if there's something you really want, make sure you pre-order it, and we'll go into that in just a second. So I've looked through the preview catalogs, and these you can get from your comic shops. They're supposed to be free. There's one from DC. DC used to be in the big previews catalog, but now they put out their own, so that should be free from your comic shop, so look into that. This is the one, it's December's issue, but it's for books that are coming out in February. They always put them out a couple of months before. And the cutoff in most cases is about 3 weeks before the comic is published. So as long as for me personally though, I always try to give myself a month. If I get my order in prior to a month of it coming out, I know it's good. That's the one from, one of the ones from Marvel. And I have to, while I got this on the, I'm on Instagram, and I just got to show you this because it is really funny. One of the guys that follows me on Instagram, Johnny Mars 79. I told him I'd give him a shout out because it was really cool. He sent me a tweet. He says, "Hey Jim, if you look at Wolverine's hand, he's got like 5 fingers and a thumb, because you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fingers and a thumb. And then if you look at Cyclops in the back, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 knuckles and a thumb." So I don't know, was Rob Liefeld drawing that? Who knows? But I just thought that was really funny. So good eyes on Johnny Morris for picking that out. But anyway, so the preview catalogs, you want to look at those. The big one is this is basically from Diamond. This is the Diamond catalog, the Previews World catalog. Now this is also available online. So I'm going to put some images on screen. It's going to show you, type in Previews World, and so the main page will come up, and at the top you'll see a bunch of tabs. Click on search. That'll bring you to a search, and you just type in the name of the comic you want. And this one I just typed in Venom, and then that'll bring up a bunch of images of comics. You just click on the image, and that'll bring up the information about that comic, the ordering info. So that image will be on the screen now. So that's for issue Venom. That's Venom number 10. You'll see on the right hand side, it kind of gives you a little description of what the comic's about, although you got to kind of read between the lines half the time because they're not going to tell you everything. So the comic comes out January 16th, 2019, and the final order cutoff is December 17th, 2018. So in just a couple weeks. And then just above the writer and the artist name, you'll see an orange code. That's the order number code. So this one, it's NOV180916. So that's the code for that comic. So if there's a comic you want, make sure you give your comic shop that code in orange. That's the order info they need. Just, and obviously how many copies you want, and what cover you want, all that kind of stuff. But for stuff further out that like sometimes you'll see there won't be a final order cutoff on there. Sometimes it'll just say in stores in February, and right now that's what you're going to see for stuff that comes out in February, because there's still tons of time to order it. When you start getting close to final order cutoff, that'll pop up in there. And if there's no date at all, if it just says in stores January whatever, that means you've missed the final order cutoff. So stuff that's coming out like in a couple weeks, it'll just say in stores whatever date, and then you've missed it. So sometimes your shops can still reorder. They'll let you know about that, but that code at the top, that's the important thing you want to know. So that's how you kind of look that up. This video is going to be top picks that I'm looking at. There's a ton of stuff coming out, but I'm not gonna talk about stuff that's on my pull list unless it's important. I'm not gonna really talk about it. I will be talking about obviously new series coming out, relaunches, and obviously what I think are going to be key issues. But just be aware that a lot of the cover images haven't been released yet, so Most of the ones I've got are correct, but some may not be right, and some haven't even been released yet. So I'm not going to be talking about all the the cover Bs and what are hot covers, all that kind of stuff. This is strictly going to be what I think are key issues to pick up because of what's happening inside, and a lot of times because of first appearances or new powers or somebody dying or whatever, the usual what makes a key comic. So just be aware of that. My top picks that I usually put out every week, that I'll go into like the hot covers and that stuff in those, but just because they haven't released the images yet, I can't go into that yet. So, and I'm not going to talk about any of the limited aftermarket stuff. I mention those occasionally. I buy a few of them myself, but I just found long term those aren't really good investments. I buy ones I like, and I highly recommend if that's something you collect, hey, go for it. Or if you like those, get them. And that's what I do. I buy ones I like, and yeah. So anyway, because there are some really nice ones out there. So we'll get into what I'm looking at. I'm going to touch on just a few things that are coming out this month, just because I want to make sure everybody's aware of some really good ones out this month. I've talked about a few of these, but we'll go through them anyways. And I will give you dates of release for all the comics too. So then this week coming out, there's a couple really key ones you want to look at. Batman 60. If you follow me on Instagram, I mentioned this one just yesterday. It looks like it's got a key event coming up in there. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but comicsheatingup.com put out a really good article, so I got to give them a shout out. So yeah, if you want to know a little bit more about that, Batman 60 looks like a really good one this week. And it's funny, because I dropped Batman after the whole wedding thing. I dropped it for a few issues. I was pissed off with Tom King and DC the way they handled it. Then I started picking it up around 55, and it's back on my pull list. And it looks like Batman's getting really good again. There's some really good stuff coming. So if you were like me and dropped it off your pull list, I'd recommend you put it back on there. So, anyways. Aquaman 43, I mentioned this one as well, but I'm going to mention it again. That comes out December 19th. It's the first appearance of Nama, the Dragon God. And in my guesstimate, it's going to be just a cameo at the end of the book, or first appearance on a splash page at the end of the book or something. And then 44 will be first full appearance, but get Aquaman on your pull list if you haven't. Or if you've dropped it. I know it was funny, I had one guy say he dropped it and then he put it back on when he read that. So anyways. Batman Damned, I had a couple people ask me about this one. This number 2 comes out on December 12th. Some people were thinking it was this week, but it's not. It's December 12th. And that looks really good. And I've also had people ask me, do I think it's going to do as well as issue 1? I honestly don't. Issue 1 it was one of those perfect storms where you had the Batwang show up, and then people were talking about that second prints won't have that. It'll be blacked out. It was all over the news and media and TV shows, so everybody and their dog wanted a copy of it. And because it was an expensive book, a lot of shops didn't order in as many copies, as they normally would for a regular Batman comic. So they're just not. It was under 100,000 print run on that one. Number 2 will probably be a little higher print run, but still, it's I think it's an $8 book if I remember right, $7-8. So shops aren't going to order them in by the boatload because they don't want to get stuck with them all. But you know what? If Harley's Bush shows up or something in there, then hey, it'll go through the roof again. It's a really good series, so I'd recommend getting it, but don't expect it to do what number 1 did. Flash number 60 comes out December 12th as well. And it's funny, I showed this one a few months back because it's the first full appearance of Powerhouse, who just showed up in 59 on that last page. And it's all in Spanish, so I don't know. It's Fuerza, which I've had a bunch of people say means power or force, so I don't know if her name's going to be Powerhouse or... anyways. But yeah, it's funny because I dropped the Flash forgetting that this was coming out, so anyways, glad I grabbed a copy last week. But Flash number 60 looks like a good one because that's first full appearance. And it looks like she may end up being an ally of the Flash, so she could end up being part of Justice League or something down the road too. Who knows? So definitely a good one to get. Another one out this week, Justice League 13. This was one of my picks this week. I mentioned that I thought maybe Perpetua from Totality may show up in there, and I still think she might. But after I put out the video, I was reading that it's actually it's also a tie-in to the new Batman Who Laughs miniseries coming out next week. So, yeah, definitely pick up Justice League 13. And it's a really nice looking cover, too. I think that one's going to do well. Talking about Batman Who Laughs miniseries, I've talked about it a few times. I'm sure you're all aware of it, but December 12th, next week, that comes out, and that looks really, really good. Ton of covers for it. I mean, there's I think they're up to 12 or 13 covers for it, so I mean, buy what you want. I'm only going to try and get a few of them. I really like cover A, actually, the Jock cover, and then there's a Greg Capullo black cover with just the helmet of Batman Who Laughs. I really like that one, so that's a really good one. From Marvel, you've got Defenders #1. There's a bunch of one-shots. A couple of them are, I mentioned for this week. You got the Hulk and Namor come out this week. And then on the 12th, you've got this Doctor Strange and Silver Surfer. And then on the 19th, Defenders #1 comes out. And I think those are all one-shots, which leads into... or maybe Defenders #1 is just the start of the new title. But anyways, all the Hulk, Namor, Doctor Strange, and Silver Surfer are all one-shots, and they're leading into the Defenders. So that looks pretty good. X-23 issue number 7 comes out December 12th. And that looks like the first appearance of the X-Assassin. I don't think that character's been around before, so I haven't been buying X-23. I bought the first few and I dropped it. I wasn't too impressed with it, but I'm going to definitely pick that one up. Looks like a good one. Amazing Spider-Man #12. I mentioned this one a few times. December 19th. The identity of that bandaged villain that's been popping up. He showed up in issue #1 and in a bunch of different issues. He just showed up in number 10 at the last page. I think his identity is going to be revealed in that one. At least that's what I read somewhere. Whether it's right or not, I don't know. But make sure you got Spider-Man on your pull list. That doesn't seem right. Why does... I got it... anyways, I know Spider-Man #12 is the one to look at. I'm not sure about the release date. I wrote down December 19th, but I'm not sure if I'm right on that one. It might be later than that. Antarctic Press. I mentioned this one before. It's in The Devils #1 that comes out December 19th. That looks really good. That's going to be a limited print run on that one. And some of their titles are doing really well. Like Rags #1 did awesome. I really think that Devils #1 is going to do well. If you can get that one, definitely pick that up. And the Marvel Prelude, the movie Prelude, I mentioned this in my last video. It was one of my picks this week. Try to make sure you get a copy of that because I really think that one's going to do well. And it's canon for the movies, so whatever happens in there or shows up in there may show up in the movie. So definitely a good one. As far as indies go, coming down the road, so from Image, January 9th, Criminal #1 comes out. This looks really good. It's from the creators of Kill or Be Killed, Brubaker and Phillips. So if you're a fan of that Kill or Be Killed series, I'd highly recommend that one. And Kill or Be Killed has been optioned for a movie. I think they're already making that into a movie, so you never know with that one too. That looks good. Spawn, man, I've mentioned Spawn for a while. I've been really getting back into Spawn. And the last issue was really good, 291. 292 comes out, I want to say the end of this month. But 293, the reason I'm bringing it up, 293, it looks like Spawn is getting some new powers. And that comes out January 30th, and it's a really nice looking cover. And then Spawn 294, which comes out February 27th, the clown transforms into a new clown Violator. Now, I read quite a while back that there was going to be a new Violator. So 294, 293, 94, right up to 300. And I mentioned this before too. Like, don't wait for issue 300 and just buy 300 because Todd McFarlane, he's got something planned for number 300, but all the issues leading up to it are going to have some key stuff. And there you go. 293, it looks like Spawn's getting new powers. And like I say, 294, it's going to be a new clown Violator. So that looks really good. So make sure you got that on your pull list because they're going to start heating up, in my opinion anyways. Another one from Image, Sharky the Bounty Hunter #1. Now this is another Mark Millar title, and it looks like it's going to Netflix. This looks pretty good, so that comes out February 20th. And definitely going to pick that one up. That looks like it's going to do well too. From Dark Horse, Anthem #1, that comes out February 27th. That is a prequel to the video game put out by BioWare. And that looks like a decent video game. They put out good video games, and that comic looks kind of cool, so I'm definitely going to grab that one. 2 from Aftershock that I'm looking at. Both come out in February. And I've mentioned before, Aftershock's putting out some good stuff. They got good writers and good artists, and I really like some of the stuff they're putting out. One from them is Oberon #1. That comes out February 6th. That looks pretty good. And the second one from them is Stronghold #1. That comes out February 20th. So those are a couple if you're interested in those. Take a look into those. I don't normally order from Valiant, but they got a couple titles coming out in February. One is called Incursion #1. Comes out February 20th. That one I'm definitely going to get. The other one I'm kind of on the fence. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to get. It's called The Forgotten Queen #1. That comes out February 27th. I may or may not get that one, but Incursion #1, I'm definitely going to grab that. And the last one I'm looking at from indies is from IDW. I'm not a huge Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, but there's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder in Hell #1. It's a mini-series. That comes out January 9th. So if you want that one, that's one you're going to have to pre-order pretty soon, because the cutoff for that is going to be in the next, probably Monday, I think. And next week would be the cutoff. So you're gonna, if you want that one, get it. It looks pretty good though, so that's one I'm definitely going to grab. From DC, going to some of the stuff coming out from them. Young Justice #1 comes out January 9th. That's got a few new heroes showing up. There's your regular teammates, but then it looks like it's got the first appearance of Teen Lantern and Ginny Hex. So those two, that looks like a decent title, and I might pick. Well, I'll pick that title up for sure, and then I'll see how it is. But that looks pretty good. The Other History of the DC Universe, that is another DC Black Label, and that's kind of the mythology of the DC Universe. That's January 30th. That looks really good. That's going to have some cool stuff showing up, because it's going to, potentially lead into a bunch of new characters and stuff, so it looks awesome. Action Comics 1007, January 30th. Been enjoying it so far. Bendis is doing a good job, and it's Rise of Leviathan. I know Leviathan's been around. It's an assassin guild, kind of under the control of Talia al Ghul and stuff, but I don't have an image for that one, sorry, but it sounds like there's the Assassin Guild may have some new people showing up and being part of it, so I'm going to definitely keep going. I've got Action Comics on my pull list, but that looks like a good issue. So I mentioned Aquaman 43 coming out this month. 44 is likely the first full appearance of Nama, the Dragon God. That will be January 23rd, so you still have time to pre-order that if you want it. 45 looks to be the origin story. That's February 20th. And like I say, if you've got DC Nation 5, that preview magazine, there's a little blurb about her in there, so go take a look at that. Batman 62, man, this is one I highly suggest you get this on your pull list. Professor Pig is on the cover, and man, he looks awesome. And if you follow me on Instagram, I showed this the other day. It's got that young criminal mastermind that showed up in issue 38. Made his first appearance in 38. It's a sequel in this one, and I'm with Professor Pig on the cover. He was thrown into Arkham prison, that young kid who was the mastermind there. And I'm wondering if he's related to Professor Pig somehow, or Professor Pig has taken him in as a protege or something. I mean, I don't know. It looks good. It looks good though. Cool thing with this one too is Frank Miller's doing cover B. There's no image for it yet, but you've got a really wicked cover A and a wicked cover. Well, I shouldn't say wicked cover B. I don't know what it looks like, but Frank Miller. If they got Frank Miller do cover B, man, that's a must buy. That one. Get that one on your pull list. I've already pre-ordered. I got 4 copies of each cover coming. That's how much I think that one's going to do well. Batman Who Laughs, the miniseries. I mentioned this one. #2 comes out January 16th, and issue 3 comes out February 13th. I just wanted to make sure you got the dates for those. Justice League Dark #7 comes out January 16th. Oh, did I mention? Sorry, Batman 62, January 9th. I don't know if I mentioned that, but anyways. Justice League Dark #7, January 16th, that comes out. It's got the Other Kind Horrific showing up. Now, sounds like there's 3 new evil characters showing up called the Soup, the Rip, and the Offspring. So, I don't know, but whatever. That's on my pull list. But that, man, if you don't have Justice League Dark on your pull list, make sure you grab #7. That looks like a good one. Justice League Annual #1, January 30th. Sounds like the Source Wall's breaking down, and they killed off the Entropy Titan, and it sounds like they may have to create a new Entropy Titan in there. So I don't know. Sounds interesting, so I'm picking that one up for sure. High Level #1. This is a DC Vertigo title. This comes out February 20th. It looks really good. It's written by or co-written. I'm not sure if it's written by, but Rob Sheridan from Nine Inch Nails, and they were behind the video game Year Zero, which this comic is kind of based on. Post-apocalyptic story, so that one looks really good. That it's all kind of based on that video game. Wonder Twins #1, a new title coming out February 13th. I'll definitely take a look at that one. Looks interesting. Batman Beyond 29. This has been on my pull list for a while, and man, I'm really enjoying this series. This whole Joker run looks really good. But February 27th is 29, and based on the cover, there could potentially be a death in that one. I don't know whether it is or not, but or it could just be rehashing the death of Robin and stuff. But we'll see. But it's kind of the conclusion of that Joker story, so that looks really good. Detective Comics 998 and 999 come out February 13th and February 27th. And the Batman Arkham Knight is supposed to be making it'd be a big part of the story in issue 1000. But if you haven't got Detective Comics on your pull list, there's a good chance he may make a cameo in 98 or 99. So definitely want to get that on your pull list. If you don't wait till just the big anniversary issues, because they like to drop stuff in just before. So looks like a good one. Justice League Dark #8. I just mentioned #7 a few minutes ago, but #8, Dr. Fate. Sounds like he's got a new Lords of Order, like a new team, the Lords of Order. There was a Lords of Order team before, but it sounds like there's a new team showing up in here. So it'll be interesting to see who's in there. Definitely get that one. That's February 13th. And Nightwing 57, man, this one looks interesting. February 20th. It's got the Joker's daughter. Now, I know if you've been a fan of Batman and Nightwing for a while, you'll know that Duella Dent, she's a lying, crazy person who said she was Joker's daughter, and she said she's been Two-Face's daughter, and she was, scared. Oh, she's just crazy and been a billion different characters. But I don't think this one, to me, I'm not sure if this is actually going to be the Joker's daughter and not Duella Dent. Like, I don't know if it's somebody else other than Duella Dent. So either way, it looks like a good issue with the Joker's daughter in there. So that is definitely one I'm picking up. That's February 20th. So that's when you want to get on your pull list. It's a cool looking cover too. From Marvel, a lot of these you'll know about. I've talked about some of them. Conan the Barbarian looks really good. It's being relaunched by Marvel in January. So January 2nd, issue #1 comes out. And January 16th will be issue 2. Looks like it's a bi-weekly title. Looking forward to that one. Guardians of the Galaxy #1, January 23rd. Donny Cates and Jeff Shaw, they've teamed up again to do this one. They, I'm sure you're well aware, did God Country, and they were together for that Thanos Wins run. And so they're going to be hooking up on this one. And there is the new Thanos showing. It sounds like a new Thanos is showing up in issue, I don't know if it's in issue #1 or 2. But at the end of that Thanos Legacy, that guy showed up and cut that ring out from the heart of Thanos. And that book may now be becoming pretty important, because if that's used to create a new Thanos, then obviously that's a kind of a key moment there. So if you haven't got that Thanos Legacy, they're dirt cheap. Just go pick up a copy. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man #1, January 9th. That looks interesting. I will take a read of that. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, so I'll definitely have to grab that one. Invaders #1 comes out January 16th. Again, I like to pick up #1s, and anytime there's a new title, I'll take a read of it and see how it is. If it sucks, I will drop it. Immortal Hulk #11. I mentioned these. January 2nd, #11 comes out. #10 is out this week, so man, get #10. But #11, he's in hell, and with the One Below All. And then issue #12, the identity of the One Below All is supposed to be revealed. That comes out January 23rd. And then it continues. Issue #13 is February 6th. So those are definitely some ones you want to get. Get Immortal Hulk. And Alex Ross's covers, man, are they gorgeous. I mean, Jesus, he does some nice work. He's been good for a long time, but man, his... I kind of forgot about, I wouldn't say I forgot about him, but I mean, it's funny how you get kind of focused on other people, but man, his work is good, and it's been good for a long time, so definitely pick those up. This one looks really cool. This next one, Crypt of Shadows #1. This comes out January 23rd. It's written by Al Ewing, who's doing the Immortal Hulk. And it's just a one-shot horror comic, so man, I'm picking that. And Kyle Hotz is doing the cover for that. That looks really good. I'm definitely grabbing that one. Another one-shot is Journey into Unknown Worlds #1, January 30th. It's 2 sci-fi stories written by Cullen Bunn, so that one looks pretty darn good too. Man Without Fear, it's a 5-part miniseries coming January 2nd. As you know, Marvel they kind of concluded the Daredevil series with 612. Then they'll do this. Then they've got Marvel Knights, the Man Without Fear miniseries, and then they'll kind of relaunch Daredevil. So we'll talk about that in a second. Marvel Avengers Prelude, I mentioned issue #1 a while ago. #2 comes out January 9th. And #3 is February 20th. I highly suggest you get those. For the last movie, they were under 10,000 print run for those. Whether or not they're going to be a little more now because shops will order them, I don't know. But man, that stuff is all canon. And like I say, there's supposed to be a new weapon for Thanos showing up in that comic before the movie, so it'll be a key one to get. Iron Man #8. I do not like Dan Slott's writing, but I'm going to grab issue #8 because it's Digital Demon in a Bottle. And if you see on my screen the original Iron Man 128 Demon in a Bottle, that's, it's a key alcoholic storyline. And I don't know what that was going to be about, but it's a cool cover, and I don't know if it's something to do with alcoholism or whatever, but looks good. Going to grab that one. Web of Venom Unleashed #1. This is another one-shot, and the funny thing with this one is Ryan Stegman's normally the artist for Venom, but he's actually the writer for this one, and he's doing the cover art, and he's the writer, and then Kyle Hotz is doing the art. That comes out January 9th, so that looks cool. Talking about Venom, #10 comes out January 16th, and I've mentioned in the past that a lot of times Cates puts big stuff in these books, and on #10 he comes face to face with his estranged father and little brother he didn't know he had. So I've been reading Venom for a long, or Spider-Man. I don't think, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be a first appearance of a brother that he didn't know he had. So Venom #10 is definitely one you want to get, because I know when he was born his mom died and his dad pretty much hated him. So anyways, that looks like a really good one. That's January 16th. Doctor Strange #10, January 30th. That is the 400th issue of Doctor Strange, so a milestone issue. Definitely going to grab that one. I might grab a limited variant for that one just because it's a milestone issue. Marvel's Annotated #1 comes out February 13th. And again, you've got Alex Ross doing the art, and it looks like he's the writer on this one. So, and that looks like a cool story. Don't think that title's been around for. Damn, I'm trying to remember how long ago that title was around, but it's been a long time. But anyways, February 13th, that comes out. Looks really good. On top of your normal Avengers title, there's Avengers No Road Home that starts on February 13th. It's a weekly comic event, kind of like No Surrender was earlier this year. And so the first issue is February 13th, and then 20th, 27th, and so on. So expect some new characters in this. I would recommend you get this one on your pull list. Just like Voyager showed up in No Surrender, you had first appearance of the Immortal Hulk, even though the Hulk's been around, as first appearance of the Immortal Hulk in 682, and then full appearance in 684, if I remember right. I could be wrong on that. First appearance of the Challenger. There's also going to be some of those hidden, expect some of those surprise variants to show up for issues. There might be one or two of them in that run. I wouldn't doubt they'll be in there. They did it in the last one, and that seems to be something Marvel's doing right now. They're usually like a 1 for 7, 1 for 10. So that looks really good. Anyways, Daredevil #1, that comes out February 6th. Like I say, they doing Marvel Knights and then that Man Without Fear, and it looks like the new series will relaunch in February 6th. They've got Old Man Quill #1. It's a 12-part miniseries starting February 6th. Might pick that one up. I'm not 100% sure of that one, but I want to mention that for you. Hulk Verines, I mentioned this one. It's a 3-part miniseries, and Wolverine and the Hulk go up against Weapon H, so that looks really good. That comes out February 20th. I can't wait for that one. And Avengers 14, I talked about, this is on my pull list, but Avengers 14 starts a new story arc called The War of the Vampires. And Blade, as you're well aware, has joined the Avengers. He joined in issue number, in the 700th issue, right at the back. He became a part of the Avengers team. So that's a good book to get. But it looks like it's the first appearance of the Shadow Colonel and his Legion of Unliving. So that is definitely a book you want to get. And because Blade's part of the team, he's obviously going to have to go and fight Shadow Colonel and all that, and his Unliving team and stuff. So, man, that looks really good. So, yeah, Avengers 14 starts that story arc, and that'll continue on for a few issues. So if you're into vampires and stuff, that'll be good. A few other titles coming out for Marvel that I'm probably not going to pick up, but I want to mention in case you're interested in them. January 9th, Captain Marvel #1. There's a new series. Black Widow #1, January 16th. Champions #1 is being relaunched on January 2nd. That one I may pick up because I didn't actually mind that one too bad, but we'll see. Age of X-Men Alpha #1, that comes out January 30th, so that'll be kind of a one-shot. And then as Marvel, man, they've got, it looks like this branches off into like 6 or 7 5-part miniseries, all these X-Men, Age of X-Men series, and man, I really don't think I'm buying those. I like the X-Men, but there's just so many. I'm not getting that. But if you're into X-Men, you might be interested in that. Marvel Comics Presents #1 is January 16th. I bought these back in the Marvel Comics Presents came out, I think, in the 80s. There was a series, a volume of these, and they were okay, but I'm probably not going to pick those up. Savage Sword of Conan comes out now. There's Conan the Barbarian. In the past, Conan the Barbarian was the comic, and then Savage Sword of Conan was a larger magazine-size black and white comic, which I used to get as well. So I'm not sure if this Savage Sword of Conan is going to be a comic or if it's going to be a magazine size, but that's coming out February 13th. I'm getting Conan the Barbarian, but I don't know if I'm going to get this Savage Sword of Conan. Ziggy Pig Silly Seal #1, February 27th. I don't know if I'm going to get that, but I thought I'd let you know if you're interested. And the last one is Gunhawks #1. That's a one-shot that comes out February 6th. All right, well, that is it, folks. There's some stuff coming out down the road. There's some really, really good stuff coming. You might have to watch this a couple times because I ran through it pretty quick, but it looks good. Follow me on my weekly picks because as more information comes out, obviously I don't have the information for everything right now. And like I say, they haven't released a lot of the cover images either, so I can't even show you images because obviously there will be some really nice covers coming for a lot of these. And as the artists and writers and information leaks out closer to release date, some other books will pop up for sure. But what I've listed there looks like some really good ones coming down the road, and gives you a bit to pre-order if you're interested in it. So there you go. Happy hunting, everybody. Talk to you later in the week. Bye for now.